on the waters of Lake Geneva, where precision is an art form. The world's fastest fleet comes together.
So what we're witnessing here is pure boat speed.
With speeds over 100 kilometers an hour.
Fastest speed in SailGP ever.
Margins are measured in milliseconds. Where power meets poise. Athletes tune with absolute control. It all comes down to perfect execution.
Absolutely nailed that.
The ultimate performance under pressure. But as the tempo rises in the race for the grand final, who will keep their composure? And who will miss their cue? This is the pursuit of perfection, and the race for the title is on. This is the Rolex Switzerland Sail Grand Prix Geneva.
Waves crash underneath, sound like thunder speaking. Flying carbon machines, driven by the world's best. Yes, powered by nature, raw passion, all action. When it takes, racing on water, racing with impact. Give it all, everything. Give it all, everything. We are racing. When it takes, we are SailGP.
With only a few events remaining, the pressure is on. Exactness will be required as the fleet sails into a brand new venue. Lake Geneva hosts the world's best sailors on a body of fresh water in the shadows of the Alps, but with conditions that are capricious at best. Welcome to Switzerland as Season 5 of SailGP breaks into new territory yet again. This iconic city with a long-running history in the world of sports, arts, and culture now is the backdrop for sailing's premier event. A sold-out crowd will line the shores of Loch Lomond as the 12 international teams look for maximum points over 2 scheduled days of racing. Alongside Olympian Stevie Morrison and former GBR athlete Hannah Diamond, I am Todd Harris. This is the Rolex Switzerland Sail Grand Prix Geneva. 3 more events remain on the 2025 calendar. Geneva, the penultimate spot on this marathon European leg. Next month sees a return to Spain before November's grand final in Abu Dhabi. It's been a season of huge moments and history-making performances. Here's a quick review of the action through 9 events.
The story of the season is coming to its exciting conclusion, and there are just 3 crucial events left before the $2 million grand final. With the front pack moving away on points, some teams are mathematically out of the running. Canada needed a strong finish in Saint-Tropez to keep their dream alive, and with it being one of their worst to date, they are almost out of touch in the standings.
It was a difficult day. It was a difficult day for everybody, and we did a bad job with what we were given. Is the truth of it. I think we've got to be pretty critical on ourselves with that we could have done better, and we didn't.
Oh my days.
In the mid-pack, there have been some incredible performances and notable improvements from the young Swiss team. While they're firmly in the mid-table, this event is huge for the home team. They'll want to attract new fans as they mark their trajectory up the scoreboard in Season 6.
What a result. Hats off to that Swiss team. First ever final.
I think we're still a lot very focused, like sailing the boat, and we're missing a bit the big picture, so we really need to get our head out of the boat and race.
For those at the bottom of the table, their own performances have been overshadowed by disastrous season penalty points.
Problems. No, and there's a massive incident on board the Brazilian boat. Oh, that's catastrophic. They had to keep clear there. Germany have to keep clear. Oh my days.
Red Bull Italy managed their first race win in Saint-Tropez, and there are signs of more to come.
At the Rockwell, France Sail Grand Prix Saint-Tropez, welcome to the show, Italy.
We are super happy. I think the team did a great job, and yeah, we can't be more proud than what we achieved in these winning races.
For Rockwell Racing, they have been in the league since 2020 and will no doubt be disappointed with where they are in the standings compared to their early season performance. They were contending for podium results before a collision with the mark in Los Angeles dented their scorecard by 8 points. Now, the battle at the top is getting intense. The Black Foils, Emirates GBR and Bond's Flying Ruse are only separated by 3 points. But who will stay in the top 3 of the grand final? France do have an outside chance, but they'll need to win in Geneva and have Los Gallos end up at the wrong end of the scoreboard. Defending champions Los Gallos are just 3 points back, so it's going to be a delicious battle all the way to the end.
Coming up in 3.
Here's how it looks after 9 events. The Black Foils continue to sit atop the table. Emirates GBR in second. The Bonds Flying Roos are third, just a point behind the Brits. Saint-Tropez saw the gap between the top 3 and the rest of the pack widen. The Spanish are in 4th, the French 5th, and North Star Canada round out the top 6. The bottom half of the table has evened out after a best-ever result for Germany Deutsche Bank and good performances from the Brazilians and the Italians last week. Team USA at this point will be looking to simply break even.
Well, the Rolex Switzerland Sail Grand Prix Geneva is going to start off with 4 races out there today, we hope, in this offshore breeze. Races 5 to 7 will be out there tomorrow. 10 points if you win, 1 point if you're in 10th, and then none if you're in the back few. We're going to look to accumulate all the points from the fleet races, and then the top 3 boats will go into that winner-takes-all event final tomorrow.
Today's race course is set on the stunning Lac Le Mans. This freshwater venue is set up with the start line sending teams towards the shoreline to reach Mark 1. From here, the fleet will make a left turn and head north away from the city of Geneva, where they'll turn either left or right at Gate 2. The next leg sees the team sail against the southwesterly wind back towards the city before completing 1 more lap and heading to the finish line. The course is surrounded by land, meaning the wind will be shifty and tricky to read. Finding space to get up on the foils will be key, but staying up on the foils won't be an easy task, so keeping manoeuvres to a minimum has to be priority.
All right, thank you, Hannah. The 12 international teams are ready to go racing here at a first ever event for SailGP. Right now, we check in down on the water for the latest conditions. Olympic silver medalist Lisa Dormanin.
Well, it's a stunning day out here on the lake. The sun is shining and the wind has filled in from the southwest, so that's great news. We've got 12 to 15 kilometres per hour. And in the practice laps, the teams are foiling, but staying on the foils is going to be the big challenge. Configuration-wise, good news is we also have new rudders and new light airfoils here in Geneva. So the F50 is set up with the new light air T-foils, so bigger surface area to help the boats get up and foiling. And we've also got the 24-metre all-purpose wing and the large jib at the front and 4 people on board, so a bit less weight to help power up the F50.
And we do have a slight delay here on day number 1 of the Rolex Switzerland Sail Grand Prix Geneva. It looks like the Swiss team is having some hydraulic issues, so rather than try to race off with 11, they're going to go for 12. For Team Switzerland, currently in 7th in the overall standings, an outing on Lake Geneva is a chance to show off their revamped squad in front of the home fans as they look to become one of the top teams in SailGP in Season 6.
As a team, it's really a new season for us. None of us had sailed with each other on board. The team almost got completely changed after the end of last season. Yeah, it was really kind of starting from scratch again for Seb and sailing with a completely new lineup.
So in a sense, we had 4 people that were brand new on the boat. The team did very well in that regards, being able to win races from the second event of the season already and be in the final.
How's your timing, Seb Snyder, at the bottom of the line? Swiss are coming in fast.
It was really important to do that final to show, all our supporters, all our investors and sponsors that we can do it. To come here in Geneva saying, our goal is to make the final, that it doesn't sound too much as a dream, but more realistic.
Look at the numbers on board the Swiss team. Their new coach this season, Javi Torres, is a gold medal maker in the Olympic scene, and now he's got this team up the leaderboard.
I've coached Martina and Kayana. I've coached Jo Ale, which she's in the Kiwi team, and Molly Mitch, she's not here. Coach actually Tash Bryan, so she's in the Aussie team for a while. At the end, they're the same principles, trying to identify what's the driver of performance, no? We've got a very good data analyst with us, and I'm an economist, so I've got that background. So it's just about managing big data. If they need it, we have to be very sharp, and we'll try to be very accurate on comms if they need something, okay? But we have to be very, very efficient. Always trying to seek what's going to be the important piece, no, in the puzzle. and always trying to learn faster than the others. So that it's a very challenging environment with the best teams in the world that can make you win a SailGP event, let's say.
It's just going to be more and more competitive, especially now that Sweden's also arriving. Yeah, we just need to be better and smarter than the others.
For us, being here at home, it gives us that little extra edge that we believe is going to give us that little advantage. I think it's really about keeping that vision of the long term, and I'm sure we'll get there, and we will never give up, that's for sure.
So with under 90 seconds to go before the start of the first race here at the Rolex Switzerland Sail Grand Prix Geneva, the Swiss are up and they are into the start box. So good news, Stevie and Hannah. Hannah, a great day. We were waiting for the wind to come in, and it did indeed.
Yeah, just on time. And it looks like it's going to be pretty tricky conditions. It is still quite light out there, but we do have these new light airfoils on, so let's see what happens.
And how about that for a backdrop? Stevie Morrison, Mont Blanc in the distance, and now we come up on 1 minute to go before the start of racing here in Geneva.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty picture perfect out there at the moment, isn't it? We can see a couple of different strategies here. Often in this light wind, if you lead back, like Germany and USA, you can control things. Burling, bottom left-hand corner of our screen on the black foils, he is definitely planning a special. He's hoping to be up on the foils and blasting over the top. There's not going to be a lot of room at the top of the line for him, though, so it could need a move and a change of plan fairly soon for the black foils. They are foiling. They're going to look to dip round the outside of the whole fleet from here and try and foil all the way through. It's all going to be about that acceleration. Germany perfectly lined up for the midline pole position there. Our Rolex pole predictor sits on board Badler Brazil, but can they get on the foils from here? We know these new light air foils get them up and foiling well, but Burling is going all the way around the outside on the black foils. He's looking to line it up. We're looking for that line to turn white, and now it's all about timing. How's your timing, Peter Burling?
Very nice start, guys.
This is the umpires. Early start penalty, Australia and USA.
Oh, the black foils! Gone. What a start from Burling. He is gone down the road on board that boat. He lined it up 20 seconds out and he nailed it.
Delay starters Switzerland, Spain, Italy and Canada.
And as they approach mark number 1 in race number 1 here at the Rolex Switzerland Sail Grand Prix Geneva, it is all black foils. Peter Burling and company, they are checking out and get the whole shot.
I think as well, nice work by Rockwool Denmark, stayed calm, got the boat foiling, as does 2 for Emirates GBR, and I think the first 3 boats could really stretch away here.
This is the umpires. USA, you've been disqualified for barging at the windward end of the line.
Black flag.
Black flag for the Stars and Stripes.
There was no room in there. Obviously, people had to avoid them to save for damage, Hannah, and I guess just an illegal move. Fair decision.
Yeah, we haven't seen one of those for a while, have we? And kind of really unnecessary at this stage in the competition, for sure. But it looks like the black foils have sort of stuck that first manoeuvre, which was always going to be a big question. They can get foiling, but can they hold it up on the foils for the first manoeuvre?
So from bad to worse for US Sail GP as they are black flagged. They are DQ'd on race number 1. We're scheduled for 4 races today. At the other end of the table, it is all good news for Peter Burling and the black foils of New Zealand. Stevie, they timed that right. They sat in the back of the pack, and he just worked his way through the field and hit the line point on.
Yeah, I think they're just up and foiling. As soon as you're foiling, you're making your own wind. As you're sailing across the wind, you get what's called apparent wind. Your movement gives you more wind in itself, and that's the advantage they had. All the other boats congested together in the pack, and we'll see that as we look to the right-hand side of our screen. People struggling to foil. Germany, they've fallen off the foils. The Bonds Flying Roos are back in the game mid-pack here. But yeah, if you get stuck in the pack, there's a lot less wind, and it's a lot harder to keep the boats foiling. As we can see, France, Spain, Italy, all absolutely neck and neck. Those manoeuvres so tight. Can they stay foiling? Next manoeuvre for the black foils will be difficult. Tacking the boat, turning the boat through the wind upwind is harder to keep the boat on the foils. But we've seen, Hannah, these new light wind foils, bigger span, nearly 23% more surface area. So that's a lot more lift, a lot more glide. Let's see if it'll glide through here. Silky smooth. The magic number we believe is 28 kilometers an hour. It looks like the black foils stay foiling. Emirates GBR just managing to stay on the foils there. So, no, they're off the foils.
Sometimes it can be better to choose to put the boat back down in the water momentarily while you build the speed and then try and take off again. So actually, pretty nice tack from Emirates GBR there.
Yeah. Hannah, as someone who has sailed on an F50 before, these are crafty machines, very technical. We've dropped from 6 athletes on board to 4. How is that going to change things in the light wind?
Yeah, there's actually a last-minute change. There's only 3 people on board at the moment, so there's a lot to do on board. Obviously, the racing's happening at a slightly slower pace, but these sailors are juggling what 6 people would normally do between the 3 of them. One of the huge things is having the visibility and the space in your head just to be able to make decisions whilst taking one of the roles on board. So it's interesting to see how they split those roles, and the black foils are making it look easy at the moment.
Well, it's an aggressive move though, an extra manoeuvre, but they're keeping it on the foils. These new foils are super glidey through there. Floated it through. Rockwool Denmark will probably have to follow. Emirates GBR as well. Big lead for the black foils, and these first 3 boats are moving away here. I mean, it'd be great to get back and see that start. It was such a time moment in the race, and it was really all happening out there. As we can see, it was the difference between being at the top gate and the bottom gate for Brazil. New Zealand, the black foils, it's been a bit of a masterclass so far.
They are the current overall leaders after 9 events on 70 points, 2 points clear of Emirates GBR, who sit in 2nd overall, and the Bonds Flying Maroons, the 3-time champions, sit in 3rd. Oh, Stevie, it doesn't get much better than that.
No, I mean, that was silky smooth, wasn't it? And I think what we're seeing here is when you are in the pack, it's a real street fight. Bonds Flying Ruse, 5th place now. They were really over the start line, had to drop way back at the start. They're working their way through the fleet. The Gaios there, Spain, middle of the pack. If we're talking about these top 4 boats in the race to get to the final, well, it's good news for Emirates GBR. It's good news for the black foils at the moment, but Spain, they've got work to do if they want to keep the fight alive. We're going to look bottom right-hand corner here. Here's the start. We saw the black foils slingshot round, but let's focus on the United States. Bottom of the screen there, they're trying to sneak in between the Mark and the Danish boat, but the Danish have the right of way. Denmark has to avoid a collision to let the Americans in, and that was deemed to be too reckless, too aggressive, endangering the boats, and that was a black flag penalty on the United States.
So no opportunity for the Americans to get any points here on race number 1, and that has going to put them in a massive hole. Remember, it's all about points, how many points you have at the end of 6 or 7 races, and then only the top 3 will race in the grand final. With light wind scheduled possibly tomorrow again, Hannah, I don't think you can afford to miss a race and still get in the grand final.
No, definitely not. And I think there's going to be so much learning going on board these boats with this new configuration, with the new larger T-foils. So it's going to be who learns quickest, because every race counts when it comes to trying to make the final.
And this is it, Todd. They've just got to take a left turn on that mark in the middle of our screen, and that'll be them heading across to the finish. So one more slick manoeuvre here for New Zealand, but if they're inside that yellow circle, no one's really got the right of way on them. Perfect by Burling here. Little turn, keep the boat foiling, and then bring it home in front of the fans.
It all started with a fantastic start for the black foils. They were in the back of the start box and came screaming up the first to get on their foils, and they just found their own space, and they have sailed a near perfect race here on leg 6 of 6. This is race number 1. We are scheduled for 4 today on a beautiful day in Geneva at the Rolex Switzerland Sail Grand Prix, and it will be the Emirates winning moment going the way of the black foils as New Zealand strikes first in Geneva, and they will take the first victory of the day with 3 more races still to come, but not sure what Mother Nature's going to give. So Stevie, you got to strike while you can, and that's exactly what Peter Burling and company did. The Kiwis win race 1 in Geneva.
Emirates winning moment there for the black foils, and well, yeah, quite right. We saw, you know, Mother Nature takes control. We saw that in Saint-Tropez. The event was shortened. Obviously, we hope that won't happen here as Rockwool Denmark bring it across in 2nd place. And at the moment, the Swiss have got slow at the bottom gate there. Look, we can see as Saherstedt finishing there. It was the Australians going right round the outside of the Swiss. Top side of our screen there, Australia up and foiling. The Swiss are off the foils. They were in 4th, but they could drop all the way back here. It's going to be very difficult as Emirates GBR look to bring it home.
Dylan Fletcher and Emirates GBR will claim 3rd place as they will slide across, in a good performance by Tom Slingsby. The Bonds Flying Ruse not happy with 4th, but Stevie, it could have been a lot worse. They've got a penalty, and here we go.
He's gonna go around us, can do what he wants.
Yeah, well, there we go. We saw that happen. Yeah, I mean, I think this event will be defined by your comebacks over the start line back to fourth. Tom Slingsby might well be the happiest skipper in the fleet after this race, because this race could have been an absolute disaster for them, but what a comeback.
So the three-time champions, they will pick up a 4th place and the points that go with it, and they will look to races 2, 3, and 4 as we take you on board the Aussies. Look at this one more time, right around the Swiss.
Yeah, and you could just see the Swiss before the mark tried to force it to try and glide round that bottom gate, and well, they fell off the foils, and that was a classic example of how much faster you go when you're foiling than when you sit the boat into the water.
So New Zealand, Denmark, Great Britain, and Australia, the top 4 to cross the line here in Geneva as SailGP comes to Geneva, Switzerland for the very first time. And who will grab 5th? It looks like the Swiss will hold on for a top 5 position. France looking to finish in 6th.
That's a really good recovery for the Swiss there, because they were so slow around that last gate, and I was worried they could have easily had the wheels fall off, but they did a nice job of coming back. France in 6th, Los Gallos, well, in the race to the final, pressure's on Diego Boltin. The defending champions are going to need to turn things around if they want to keep themselves in the hunt before we head to Cadiz.
They are currently 3 points out of a top 3 position after 9 events. Los Gallos of Spain, as Stevie mentioned, the defending champions. They won in San Francisco, they won in New York City, and they're going to need to turn it around, because as we've said before, you can have a bad race in 2 days of racing. You just can't have 2, and they've already got a 7th on their report card.
Solid one for France there. Good comeback by the French. They needed a good one. I think they're going to struggle, you know, to get to the final, so they're really fighting for pride, really, I think. But if they can get an event win here, well, who knows what's possible. But solid comeback for them, and I think it's going to be the story of the day. We'll see the racing go out, but if you can't get off the start line, it's going to be a very, very hard race, and just crucial that you scrap for every point you can.
I think today's going to be one of those hard days where it's just because you've had a good first race, actually, you're going to have to convert and work hard every single race to make sure you're learning and keeping up with the fleet.
Canada come across in 8th, and Germany Deutsche Bank will finish in 9th, and it looks like the Italians will round out the top 10.
Up in 3, 2, 1, heading up.
Tough one for Germany. They've looked really good, Todd, so for the last couple of events, so they'll be looking to turn things around here. But again, Germany, Italy, these newer teams, well, it's maybe an equal opportunity with these new foils coming in, how we learn, but also they're already struggling to get to grips with just the F50 as it is. So the new foils, something even more to think about. And yeah, it's noticeable that some of the newer teams at the back of the pack in the first race with the new foils.
The pressure from the wind must be really on the edge, Steve, because we were scheduled to have 4 sailors on board, and now they last second as Hannah caught. It was just 3 at the last minute.
Yeah, it's really up and down. The wind here in Switzerland, it's great that we got this southwesterly. I mean, it's absolutely stunning conditions. But yeah, 3 people on the boat. It's just a lot less weight to lift up into the air, basically. So they made the call. We want the boats foiling. That's the sort of defining factor. A foiling boat's a fun, fast boat.
So Mubadala Brazil will come across in 11th place. Remember, the USA got a DQ, so they will finish in 12th, and no points for those last 2 teams. So a very tough start to the Rolex Switzerland Sail Grand Prix for the Americans and the Brazilians, and they will look to races 2, 3, and 4 as we are scheduled for 4 races today. Mother Nature obviously powering SailGP, and if she brings the wind, we will keep racing.
Soaking it down.
And now the entire fleet is home.
We'll take a look back at the start, and the black foils really line this up nicely right from the back of the start box, got the boats up on the foils, and from here we're just able to sail away underneath the fleet. The other story from the start was obviously a US SailGP team getting disqualified from that race, having not given enough space to Denmark. From here, the black foils made it look super easy to stay up on the foils, really nailing all of their maneuvers and just sailing the simplest route around the course to keep the boat up on the foils, nice and fast, to keep themselves away from the fleet. Really nice work from Denmark and Emirates GBR, trying to just stay on the tails of black foils, really. The further back in the pack you get, the harder it is to keep the boat up and foiling, keep it sailing nice and fast. So black foils making it look really nice and easy and taking the win in the first race today.
Yeah, I think just staying on the foils is the key, isn't it, Hannah? And that's where all the crew's going to be learning on the job. But boat speed keeps you on the foils. So yeah, GBR with a classic example, going around the outside when they had to. Devil's in the detail out there today.
And we now go down on the water and visit with the home team, the Swiss, as they finish in a top 5 position. Sebastian Snyder and company. Seb, great job by you guys. You know these waters well. You know how tricky the wind can be. What do you expect for the rest of the day?
That's a good question. If I knew, I'd be a genius, I think. It's quite light. Seems like it's dying now, but we never know. We can always come back, but it's still fun racing, and yeah, we take the most out of it. Hopefully we can fix our boat, because last race we didn't really have a boat that was working, so we did a good job considering that, but looking forward to the next one.
Seb, the new foils obviously seem to have the boat gliding pretty well, but when you fall off the foils, that's basically disaster in this racing, is it?
Yeah, especially on the downwinds, I'd say, because yeah, once you're on the foil, you get away from the gas of the fleet. So yeah, that's really the goal, to nail that first jibe. I think we did that well in the first race, so yeah, we'll be looking at doing the same again.
Seb, thanks so much for your time. We wish you the best of luck. Sebastian Snyder, the driver for Switzerland, as they finish in 5th place in race number 1. One race down as we look down the course. Another race coming as we take a look at the Emirates fly time. Stevie and Hannah, we thought this might not even happen today because how light the wind was, but congratulations to the Blackfoils as they go 99.9%, almost a complete on a beautiful race for them as they take the victory in race number 1 here on day 1.
If we have a look back at some of the statistics from race 1, you know, flight time is what it's all about today. So you can see really easily Blackfoils, 99.9% flight time. And as the fleet comes down, you can see that percentage just dropping and dropping as it gets harder to find clear air on the course. Average speed, you know, again, if you're foiling, you're going faster. So it's easy to see how that average speed is kept higher. So there'll be a lot of teams who are really working hard to find space on the course, keep the boat up on the foils.
So that's the story of race number 1. 2 more races to go as SailGP Season 5 makes their first visit to Switzerland here at the Rolex Switzerland Sail Grand Prix Geneva, part of the Rolex SailGP Championship. Race number 2 is up next.
The long-awaited debut of SailGP here on the beautiful Lake Geneva.
An announcement we've all been waiting for, the confirmation of SailGP's 13th team, the Artemis SailGP team.
I'm incredibly excited to be back for next season. There's no reason why we can't compete at the front.
For us, it's all about this event, so we're going to go all in.
We were the fortunate team who got to go out, test some new foils yesterday. Honestly, I was so impressed with the new foil package. It's going to bring the wind speed needed to foil down, manoeuvrability, the boats will go up. The boat performed the best it's ever performed in those conditions.
But in the end, the Emirates winning moment goes the way of Emirates GBR.
Sometimes our sport, the weather plays its hand in fate. On Saturday morning at 7:30 we got a message to say racing was cancelled. Great to take the win.
Around the buoy they go, and there they see the finish line. Welcome to the show, Italy.
Of course, it was great for our Italian team to get the first win in this league. For sure, as a team, the momentum is growing, and we are in a great shape.
Oh, France!
Oh, the French have really put it in the water there.
It's been a difficult season. We just try to bounce back all the time.
3 finals, and now their first event win since season 3. Give the win in Sassnitz to the French.
We are just focused on our goal to keep trying to win. If we do well here and in Cadix, it will be a good season.
In New York City, Spain will reign supreme.
The Spanish have been notoriously strong in the lighter breezes, very sniggly around the race course, so they'll definitely be ones to watch.
It's the most important event for us of the season. The results show that we can win races and we can be in that final race. So that's our target this weekend, and we're going to go for it.
Flying carbon machines driven by the world's best. Yes, powered by nature, powered by nature. We are SailGP.
Day 1 of the Rolex Switzerland Sail Grand Prix Geneva, 1 race complete. And day one on Lake Geneva, plenty of drama out on the water so far, but off the water, SailGP has been making waves with new news yesterday that 12 will become 13 with the addition of yet another top-level international squad. As we welcome another high-level performing team to the group, 13 boats out on the start line. This is going to be a lot of fun.
Oh, best seat in the house. Fastest speed in SailGP ever. And what a moment. Oh, this is huge here.
With precious few races left until we crown a champion, Season 5 has been the most competitive year of racing to date. 12 teams have battled it out in tight, fast, action-packed contests. But with a new season already on the horizon, the competition just got tougher with the announcement of a 13th team led by a familiar face.
We're here to announce the Artemis SailGP team, which I'll be skippering, and really excited to be back into SailGP for next season. So we'll join the league at the start of Season 6, so the first event for us will be in Perth.
Artemis Racing has been around for 15 odd years now and always been at the top of the sport. Artemis SailGP team has two real goals, commercial and sporting. On the sporting front, you know, we're all come from that history and is to be right there at the top. I mean, right from day one is Nathan's charge. But it's also, I think, important for us and for our ownership that this is successful commercially. I think having a sailing that's self-generating, bringing in top brands, growing viewership is so important for our sport. The more we can get this in front of the next generation, show the excitement of our sport, the more people are going to join and enjoy.
There's definitely an element of unfinished business for myself. I was with SailGP from the beginning. You know, I was running the Japanese team. I've come second twice in the championship. And then, you know, I haven't really had a good opportunity come up since then. But now with this opportunity with Artemis, I feel like we're in a really strong position to mount a challenge. For me, it's the culture that we had at that team in the Bermuda Americas Cup. We were a massive family unit there. So, you know, to be given an opportunity to come back to the Artemis family and to be driving the boat at SailGP is a huge honor for me and something I'm really excited about.
Well, Hannah, if you're going to start a team, I think the first name you're going to go look for is Nathan Outers, Olympic gold medalist. He's been at the highest level of everything, SailGP runner-up twice. He's probably your guy.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he's got incredible pedigree in this F50 class, especially, you know, there's not many people who've come second in the grand final in the history of the class. But, you know, we've been saying for a long time the level is rising and rising, so he's going to have a really impressive team alongside him if he wants to have a chance of winning the championship.
Stevie, I'm not going to say he's going to have the pick of the litter, but a lot of people would love to sail with the Wind Whisper.
Well, yeah, he's been very successful, hasn't he? CEO Ian Percy, he's got more medals than Nathan himself, so he's a pretty ruthless guy, Ian. I know they're going to be aggressive in the transfer market, so that's where I think that, yeah, we see him there sailing with Chris Draper. He sailed with Ian Jensen from the British team, so I think there'll be some nervous other teams when this transfer market comes around. Who are they going to go out and buy? How much money have they got to go out and buy some of these top sailors? So pretty excited to see what happens, but I expect them to come out of the blocks firing. They will be a serious contender in Season 6.
And we are waiting for race number 2. Once again, Switzerland having some problems on board, so some technical issues, but all 12 teams are out there and they are ready to get into the start box when the word is given to them by race management. But that's about 5 minutes away, so we are looking forward to that second race. Well, the grand finale in Abu Dhabi is hurtling ever closer, and with it the potential challenge of light air conditions. Traditionally, good sailing is reliant on wind speeds. So, how does SailGP keep racing at high speed when the wind is against them?
The F50 is made up of hundreds of complex parts, electronics, hydraulics and composite structures, all one design. But foil shape, design and construction is in constant development.
What the league has done with the F50s is geared us with 2 new bits of equipment. So we've got the rudder winglets and the horizontal foils that the boats fly on. They will make the boats easier to foil. So the boats will be able to foil at lower boat speed and in a lower true wind speed.
Light air T-foils and rudders will provide a takeoff speed never seen before in SailGP.
So for this weekend, it's, you know, working out where to get the most out of the foils, where to take off, and working out how high we can fly with this configuration.
Happy on motors, Parker? What do you think?
We've all been using the same equipment, and now we're getting this sort of fresh set. Someone might become stronger or might favour them a little bit more.
Happy to push the rudders, Raz, and find the limit here. Adding a little more rudders.
I don't know if it's better without diff. Probably not.
The noise coming from the foils today.
It'll be the team that learns this equipment the fastest that comes out on top. We've got a list of things we want to run through. We've got a lot of theories as to how we think the boat will behave and what we will be able to do and won't be able to do. But it'll be about putting that into practice, running through those.
This weekend is super critical to the season, but also with these new foils coming online, this is probably going to be our only opportunity to actually use and explore and improve on this setup before we use them again in the grand final location in Abu Dhabi. So the team, we're taking it super seriously. Obviously, we're investing a lot in the performance analysis after each day in training. So we've brought in expertise that we feel will help us with that. Hugo is our performance analysis, the best there is, and obviously our coach really leaning on him to provide, really quality feedback. But I think we're just all really excited for something new. It's another challenge, and we're trying to embrace that challenge.
So there you see the Australians get it into place. The Bonds Flying Roos currently fourth in the first race. Hannah, you've been on board the F-50s before. This is tricky. You go from 6 down to 3. Does everyone do it roughly the same?
Yeah, when it comes down to having 3 people on board, there's 3 essential roles that you can't really give up, but it does involve a little bit more strategy and how you're going to split, making your way around the course. So someone's got to be looking out, eyes out of the boat, but you've still got to have that driver, wing trimmer and flight controller covered. So it's going to be about sharing, how you share that workload between the 3 of them. And of course, you've got to have someone available to grind. That's the only way we can pull the wing sheet in. So being able to jump forwards into that cockpit and enable some power to enable the wing trimmer to trim the wing optimally.
Yeah, that's right. So it's a real choreography that they have to work on there, the crews, and the key, of course, is to nail the manoeuvres so you don't have to adjust the wing too much, and they can just then use the hydraulic controls up the wing with what we call twists. So that's how the top of the wing is sheeted compared to the bottom of the wing, and that's where the wing trimmers are constantly trying to juggle. If I move the sheet, well, I need someone to move the winch to pull it back in for me, but if I can manage to keep the boat fast enough, then I won't need to do that. And of course, it's really tricky to do that on these boats, but we saw the New Zealand crew were the best at that in the last one, and Blair Tuke, Peter Burling, well, they've got Leo Takahashi, their youngster, on board, but Leo's really taken to this flight control role well. He's having to multitask today. Look, there he goes, into the front cockpit. So he's on the handles here right now with 1 minute and 7 seconds to go. So a multitasking day for all the sailors out there on the boats.
1 minute away from the second race here at the Rolex Switzerland Sail Grand Prix Geneva. Once again, I'm telling you, Stevie, Hannah, if I was one of these other 11 teams, I'd say, where's Peter Burling? Where are they going?
Yeah, left-hand side of the screen, there's less breeze on the race course. I can see that already. It's definitely lighter, so this pop will be hard. We heard Burling say, I'm worried about getting locked out of the top. That's the right-hand side of the screen of our end of our screen to the right there. That's where the United States got locked out last time, so Burling's bailing here. He's going to struggle to foil right now, I think. It's Emirates GBR to the left that have got the space, but can Dylan Fletcher find any gap at the top of the line to get the boat foiling? The Bonds Flying Roos, well, they're well positioned. The Rolex Pole Predictor once again on Mubadala Brazil, they're perfectly positioned, but it's going to be hard to accelerate in the middle of the pack. Black foils are out the back here. They're going to have a bad start. Rockwall, Denmark and the United States are hustling at the top of the line. I'm not sure there'll be room for Rockwall, Denmark here. Keep your eyes on the Danish. They're going to force it in. Is this going to be a role reversal or is he clear? I think Rockwall Denmark's just got round the front of the US team. Oh, that was brave by Serhested. But if he can get foiling, and he is foiling, Rockwall Denmark are going to blast over the fleet from here. Can they get round the Bonds Flying Roos?
I'm Stan TJ. It's one of those where you want some confidence from someone. All right. Yours, Res. I'm Ken Zero.
Has the confidence and has the steely conviction to make it happen, and it will be Nikolai Sehested, the Flying Vikings, up and foiling as they approach mark number 1.
He said 1 and in there, Todd. It looks like pretty good breeze straight in front of him. So Rockwall Denmark are going to extend away, I think. It's about 5 wide for the middle of the pack.
Yeah, let's go all the way.
So your Rolex sprint leader are the Danes, Rockwall Denmark Racing. As they get the whole shot, they are out in front. Good time to go down on the water. Lisa Darman, what are you hearing for future wind coming in on the course as with one more race still to go after this one?
Yeah, so the wind was quite light at that start, as you saw, but it has pulsed in, so it's coming over the mountains, it's coming in and out, but it looks perfect right now. As we know, the pressure is on these foiling manoeuvres, but it looks like most of the teams are nailing it right now. But if you're out in front, your life is just so much easier.
Well, from front of the pack in the last race, the black foils of New Zealand now find themselves in dead last in 12th.
This is the umpires. Penalty, Switzerland relative Spain.
So a penalty in the middle of the pack, Switzerland on Spain. Hannah, I was just going to say, if you're Peter Burling, now you start picking up and limiting the damage.
Yeah, and it's going to be tricky from here because, like we've said, if you're in the back of the pack, then you're sailing through all the disturbed wind from all of the other boats. So we saw how easy it was for the front of the pack to extend and how hard it is for the back of the pack to catch up with these conditions.
Less wind in the back of the pack there, Todd. As we see now, interestingly, all the boats are trying to minimise those manoeuvres. It would be interesting to see the first boat to turn right at gate number 2. It looks like it'll be the Germans. They're going to try and find space on the shore side of the course there. They're trying to find out if they can take an overtake by going for different breeze. But at the moment, it's about staying simple as you can. Australia look pretty fast here. They will have to manoeuvre when Rockwool Denmark do. It's going to be matching tacks. Great manoeuvre by the Australians right in front of the Danish. The Australians and the Danes are off the foils, but it's advantage Australia. They'll be putting disturbed wind onto Rockwool Denmark at the moment. It's a lot lighter in the pack here. Could be good news for the Germans heading towards the fans on the shore. They're still foiling, and maybe they've got more wind. It's all about executing another good manoeuvre on board Deutsche Germany.
Sorry, just
Look at Canada, Mobudla, Brazil, France, and the black foils. They are 9, 10, 11, and 12, and they are getting lapped as Spain picks up a penalty.
Patience here.
Really tricky to pick up a penalty and not really put yourself in a hole, Stevie, because once you have to drop behind another boat, you're going to get the chance maybe not to get that back.
Yeah, I mean, it's so hard, isn't it? So hard once you get yourself caught in the pack and you get bounced out of position. So yeah, painful one for Spain there. They've got to drop all the way back behind Switzerland, which is going to be about a 50-metre loss, but it's going to put them into the disturbed wind of the Germans, which is a bigger problem. Mode change, crucial on board now, Hannah. We're down to just one hull in the water. They're not foiling. As soon as you fall off the foils, it's hard to accelerate here. Who's going to be the first boat to foil? Could be Rockwool Denmark.
Let us know if we're getting close, because we can go.
And there's so much to learn with these new light IT foils. They look like they're going for the takeoff now. Looks like that was about 26 kilometres an hour. Can they keep it up on the foils?
No, they're off. They forced it down. I think it's 28 is what we've heard the teams talking about. Maybe tried to force it there. There's confusion on board that Danish boat. They're not focused on the right things there, almost forgetting which tack they're on, it sounded like there for a moment.
In that position with the Bonds Flying Rouge just in front of them, they really needed to invest into the speed so they had enough to get up on the foil, so probably not quite enough space for them to commit to that properly.
Yeah, it'll be interesting here, Todd. You look at left-hand side of the screen as we come back on board Australia. They're setting up for another manoeuvre here, potentially. Oh no, he's just using the board on the left-hand side of the screen here to try and keep the hull in the air. So he's using that to lift this other hull out. Yes, there's some drag from the foil, but there's a lot less drag than having a 50-foot canoe hull in the water there. So that's the Australians really thinking outside the box as they move along here. One more manoeuvre. Look how light it is by the shore here.
It's definitely low, fast build.
Now they look lined up with the next gate. Gate 3 is our scoring gate out here. So this looks like it will be a counting race, but it is Germany, Deutsche Bank that are making the gains at the moment. They've made a big gain up this upwind leg. They're sailing it pretty conservatively, committed to a H1 mode. Right-hand side of screen, Australia, there's a lot of water moving around here. Are they getting fast enough to foil? Maybe, maybe not. It's so close.
Doesn't matter here. Works.
Germany, Deutsche Bank currently in second place. It's the Bonds Flying Rouge that lead this second race of the day. And the Danes, who got the whole shot, the best start at mark number 1, have dropped back to third.
We go right turn?
Yeah, Germany have done a nice job here, Todd. They are closing in Australia. We can see the Australians coming in. Germany has the right of way. Slingsby needs to be careful. He needs to give width to the Germans here. Yeah, there you go. Yes, you do, Tom. And Germany needs to push a bit wide here. Try and get a bit greedy, Eric. Don't make it easy for the Australians. Oh, he was very kind to Australia then. I think he could have pushed at them a bit more, give them a bit more uncertainty, tried to slow the Aussies. This is Australia's chance to take off. Top of the mast, 28 kilometres an hour. That should be fast enough. We're expecting the Bond flying. There they go. They're up and foiling on board the Bonds Flying Rouge now. Can they keep it there?
Really nice takeoff by the bronze flying ruse there, and you can see how much difference it makes to the boat speed if you're able to just get the boat on the foils. The question now is going to be, can they keep it on the foils when they have to go for this next manoeuvre?
Lisa, is there any more breeze where the Australians are hoping for? How glidey are these new foils?
Stand by, 8 seconds.
They definitely have said that the foils are way more glidey. I think what we're seeing is actually on the shore where the grandstand is, it looks like there's really good pressure. So where Emirates Great Britain and Los Galos are heading. But because Australia had that really nice manoeuvre and they wanted to be able to pop on that bearaway, that was an excellent execution. And they seem to have nailed this next foiling manoeuvre, so they'll come out strong here.
And look at the speeds as the Bond's flying ruse now tipping into the 44km/h. You look at some of the other boats out there, they're still in the 20s. Emirates GBR right now at 12.
Yeah, they're just manoeuvring in on the shore there. As soon as you manoeuvre, you just get so slow. I mean, big story really, left-hand side of screen. Yeah. New Zealand and France, two of the top teams there, 9th and 11th. And the New Zealand team, well, they won race 1, didn't they? And we said how important it is to be able to work back through the fleet when you're at the back. Well, Australia got all the way back to 4th in that first race. Can the Black Foils find a miracle solution in this race? Because if they don't, they're going to be draw himself into the fight here.
3, locked.
Meanwhile, the Australians continue to stay on those foils. As Lisa Darman reported, as they come close towards shore, they find a little bit more pressure there, Stevie, and they keep both holes dry for the time being.
Yeah, massive turn there. They had to turn a long way round to get to the maximum power point in the breeze. Draper there, he's steering. Now he gives the steering wheel back to Slingsby. Jason Waterhouse, he now runs across. Slingsby's flying the boat. Jason Waterhouse, well, he's on the handle, trimming the wing. Now he's back to being a flight controller. It's a real multitasking day for all the sailors out here. But what they are doing very well, they are mastering that multitasking at the moment.
Copy, lead coming in, pressing. Mark 1 is right here, stand by.
Should just be one more manoeuvre, Todd, and then they'll be in on that final mark. So this looks pretty good for the Bonds flying ruse here. There goes Draper, one more manoeuvre. Will they stay foiling? I think it'll be hard on the upwind leg.
They bring it around, and it does look like that left hull does touch down, but they've got a massive lead right now as Switzerland currently sits in 2nd place, but quite a bit behind the Bonds flying ruse.
Yeah, well, this would be huge for the Swiss though. I mean, they can just chip away and get a good race, but you just see the Germans, they fall off the foils there. They're sailing nearly parallel across the course, and it's Emirates GBR in 3rd who are making a massive gain. They're going to have to watch out for the Bonds flying ruse though. Bonds flying ruse have the right of way.
Probably get...
US SailGP also in the fight right now as they sit in 4th place. Taylor Canfield, remember, that squad got black flag DQ'd at the first race at the very start, so they need a top 4 performance here.
Yeah, that's a nice job there by the United States. They've worked their way up through the fleet, got foiling, and then stick the manoeuvres. Can the British stick the manoeuvre?
Lock. Copy.
Pretty close. They put the hull in there. Looks like maybe they've missed that. They're looking to commit to a H1 potentially. Yeah, they've fallen off the foils. They'll be disappointed for that. Australia are going to bring it home, right-hand side of our screen. The Swiss there going to follow in 2nd. Good result for the hometown heroes, that is for sure. And it's Germany, United States. Germany up and foiling, but Eric Hull needs to make a decision. Which side of the United States are you going, Eric?
So as Emirates GBR comes around the last gate, they'll head up to that mark and take the left-hand turn. Meanwhile, it is the Bonds flying ruse that will strike, and they will get a victory in race number 2 here at the Rolex Switzerland Sail Grand Prix Geneva. Tom Slingsby and company, the Emirates winning moment goes the way to the Australians.
And the United States are going to be over speed on the British at that bottom gate as we see the Emirates winning moment, but the United States are going to go right round the outside of the British, I think. Oh, can he stay on the foils? They're just foiling. Great Britain must keep clear of the United States. They're all off the foils. Opportunity for boats behind. Okay, going to be aggressive from Canfield. Emirates GBR needs to keep clear. Canfield, multiple match race world champion, needs to remember there's a whole fleet to race out here. He's being very, very aggressive, trying to slow the Brits down. It's all about re-acceleration now. Germany could go round the outside of all of them. The black foils are back in the race, Todd. Look at that, they're foiling. They've got to be careful to cross Canada. If the black foils stay in the foils, 3rd place is a potential. Canada may have pressed the button for a protest, not sure. Think it was clear. This is going to come down to a sprint to the finish here. Right turn for Canada, left turn for the black foils, New Zealand, and it's going to be really, really tight.
Switzerland will get 2nd place and a big performance for the home team.
Here we go, tight. Black foils are still foiling left-hand side of our screen. So is Canada, Todd. And these three boats, third, fourth. So this race, third all the way to seventh, is going to come down to how well teams can accelerate out of this manoeuvre. Can the black foils stay on the foils?
Oh, 4 down.
I don't think they can. It's so light out there at the moment, but they've got space. If they can get up and foiling, there's still a chance for them to get back in the race here. Canada will have the right of way on the inside. Emirates GBR potentially positioned to hold on to third place, but it's about acceleration and getting back on the foils for the black foils. Can they do it?
And a different configuration here. They're not quite up on the foils, but they are moving faster than the boats in front, so they're going to have to work out how they're going to try and get round that group that's slower in front of them.
This is going to be a 200-yard sprint to the finish line, and what's on line is third place, so it's going to be Emirates GBR, US SailGP, Canada, North Star Canada now in the mix, as they will dive inside Germany. Deutsche Bank, and there are the black foils, both holes now in the water. It looks like Canada's going to have to bail out.
They are, but I think Germany needed to give them space there, so that is definitely a foul by the Germans for me there. Germany might argue they couldn't keep, penalty goes straight on the German boat.
Penalty Germany, not giving mark room, go behind Canada.
Yeah, that's huge for Germany. Black foils might be able to roll round the top here. Emirates GBR are going to get third. USA fourth, but New Zealand and Canada, well, it's a tight race, and Los Gaios are in it. Germany have to get behind Canada.
Yes, lad.
So coming to the line is Emirates GBR, the winners of the last event in Saint-Tropez, as they squeeze across for 3 points. Of course, they finished in third in the first race, so 3 and 3 back-to-back. But it's the Australians, the Bonds Flying Roos, that get the win. Swiss second, British third.
I have to apologise for a bit of language there across the finish line, unfortunately, at the back there. The crew's into their debrief there. Good comeback by the United States, as he said, but it's tight in the pack. Germany, Canada and New Zealand. It's a real fight towards this finish line.
2 races down, 1 more still to go here at the Rolex Switzerland Sail Grand Prix. This is just a crawl to the finish line, and that was a painful penalty, as the Germans will come across the line, but they still have a penalty on the wing, so they're going to have to drop behind Canada. So, Steve, that means that Canada will take that 5th position.
Well, it does, but New Zealand might get Canada on the line here, so it could be a 2-place loss for the Germans, because they will go back behind. The Canadians must give room to the black foils. Black foils are going to go all the way up to 5th. What a combat.
Wow.
Little bit of a spectacular one for the thing, and that's huge. I think that should be 5th place for New Zealand there across the finish line once we get the penalty put on the Germans.
So they take a 12th and turn it into a 5th. Canada unofficially a 6th, with Germany in 7th place. Again, these are not official just yet. We'll have to wait till the fleet comes home. So these are provisional results as it stands right now. But what we do know is the Bonds Flying Roos do get the win. Sebastian Schneider and the Swiss finish in 2nd, and Emirates GBR finish in a podium position in 3rd. So back-to-back thirds for the Brits, as Rockwell Denmark, who had a pretty decent start, Stevie, but just faded in the fleet.
Yeah, you just get stuck in the pack. You miss one manoeuvre, which is what happened to them.
That first upwind there.
Well, there you go. I think Nikolai said it for us. It just snowballs, and that's just what can happen. One little mistake, you get a little bit out of phase, fall off the foils, lose a bit of speed. Suddenly things get really wrong. And yeah, Germany will finish 5 seconds behind Canada in that race. So that will see a bit of a change to those results when we get through that. We're going to go down now for an interview with the British team, Todd, and find out how hard it is out there on the water. Dylan, it looks really, really tricky from sat where we are. How hard is it actually on board the boat, trying to manage all the different roles as well as pick your way through this fleet?
Yeah, it's a super difficult day. We've not done much of this 3-up, and yeah, certainly been a bit average at times.
Dylan, at a tricky day like this, and you know how tight it is after 9 events in the overall season standings, have you ever been this happy to have a 3rd and a 3rd?
Yeah, probably not. Feels like we're sort of street fighting out here, scrapping for every metre, and yeah, we're just really happy. We've got these new foils on. They're absolutely unbelievable how we're able to foil around in this much wind, so it's great action.
And Dylan, finally, what's the intel you're getting for this 3rd and final race, and of course, what's going to happen tomorrow with the conditions?
On the foils, and we'll be just fine.
Dylan, appreciate your time. Dylan Fletcher, Emirates GBR, winners of the last event in Saint-Tropez. And here they are with a 3 and a 3 back-to-back. So pretty solid for them, Steve. You got to think, as he said, never been so happy to have a 3rd and a 3rd.
We take a look back at this start, and it was the reverse of race 1, where we had Rockwool Denmark really trying to get in at the top of the line, and they just about made it through and onto the foils in time to win that start and ultimately be leading at Mark 1. From here, we saw the fleet really kind of have to work hard to keep the boat on the foils, and Rockwool Denmark led round the left-hand turn with the Bons Flying Rouge close behind. But as always in these conditions, it's not always about the straight line, it's about how you execute some of those maneuvers. And actually being in that position made it really hard work for the Danish team, because the Australians were able to tack just in front of them, so they weren't able to keep up on the foils. Deutsche Bank Germany did a really nice job to take a right turn, have a bit more pressure, and be able to stay up on the foils a little bit longer and keep them in contention. And the race wasn't over at that point. At any point the teams could get slow, but the Bons Flying Rouge really sailed away to take the Emirates winning moment. Really tough racing with slightly lighter winds with just 3 people on board. We've heard from some of the sailors how hard it is to cover all of the positions on board with just the 3 of you. And still some foiling moments, so you've got to be on it, working the boat really hard as long as you can to take any opportunity that you can to get the boat foiling.
What a race for the Kiwis. They go from 12th to 5th, but the Emirates Fly Time Award goes to the Swiss. They finished in second place with a 49.6% fly time, which is pretty rock solid considering how light the wind is today here in Lac Le Mans.
And this race was all about foiling efficiency, that you could see how much speed the boats can carry. That all the teams are trying to learn these light air T-foils, being used for the first time in racing today. We know that the higher you can fly the boat, the faster you can go, but the less room you have for error. So the Bons Flying Rouge, not surprising, coming away with the win with that highest average height time there, average height across that race there, so coming away from the win.
All right, so that's 2 races down on day number 1 at the Rolex Switzerland Sail Grand Prix, and here's all the standings. It is the Bons Flying Rouge limiting their damage in race number 1 and getting the victory in race number 2. That has them on top. Tied on points for Emirates GBR and the Black Foils, and then Switzerland in the fight, just 1 point out of a podium position. Rockwool Racing in 5th, and the rest of the fleet really struggling with these tricky winds, trying to find the pressure to keep those boats up and foiling. So we'll regroup and get ready for race number 3. Beautiful day here in Geneva at the Rolex SailGP Championship, and all the fans are out enjoying this late summer beautiful weather. We've got 1 more race to go here on Lake Le Mans. It is going to be spectacular.
Saint-Tropez is a classic venue on the Rolex SailGP Championship, and this time the katabatic Mistral wind that comes down from the mountains and off the shoreline challenged the world-class teams like never before.
Yeah, I think what we're seeing is when these gusts come through, that it's a big shift towards the bottom right-hand corner of our screen, and that's where Germany are. They're sailing nearly straight down the course. Massive gain, and you can see the Black Foils look like they were leading off the start. They're 8th, got pushed really wide here, now straight down the course.
Oh, it's so shifty, and I mean, there's big mountains all around Saint-Tropez, which is beautiful, but it's really playing with the wind, and where the start box is, it's so hard to predict what's going to happen.
Yeah, that's right. These sailors are really having to think on their feet. So not only for the strategists, but also it changes how you sail the boat. So for the flight controllers, the wing trimmers, they're really having to adapt to these conditions. The people that adapt quickest are the ones that generally keep that average boat speed nice and high.
Even the very best teams went from hero to 0.
And they've had 2 shockers out here, and they're getting a bit loose across the finish.
And the wind shifts were so extreme that it caused havoc at the starts.
And the whole fleet's going wide here. Big rotation.
Emirates GBR were not only able to avoid being on the wrong side of the shifts, but they stayed fast and in space to keep their tally clean.
We can see Emirates Great Britain, they're converting poor results into good ones. That's what's a big thing. But they're doing that by staying in space.
When you break down the numbers, it's clear to see why Emirates GBR was so consistent. They had the highest average speed and flight time across the fleet. And they managed to gain on average 1.8 places when comparing Mark 1 to the finish.
in the end, the Emirates winning moment goes the way of Emirates GBR.
It's time to celebrate. Congratulations to Emirates Great Britain's SailGP team.
Dylan Fletcher and company take a bow.
Flying carbon machines driven by the world's best. Yes, powered by nature, powered by nature. We are SailGP.
Nestled between the Alps and the Jura Mountains, Geneva is a city where nature and culture meet in style, from vineyards and lakeside beaches to award-winning restaurants. Known as the City of Dialogue, Geneva has a rich history of diplomacy and humanitarian tradition. Its cobblestoned old town, iconic jet d'eau, and vibrant cultural scene, from world-class museums to festivals year-round, make it a destination that truly exceeds expectations. So whether you're here to sail, stroll, or simply soak it all in, Geneva is ready to welcome you.
Almost time for the third and final race here at the Rolex Switzerland Sail Grand Prix Geneva on day number 1 with Stevie Morrison, Hannah Diamond, and Lisa Darman, and I'm Todd Harris. Well, it takes a small army of committed technical artists who keep these high-tech foiling F-50s afloat and primed to respond to the demands of the world's best sailors. Oftentimes, when the sun goes down, the work just begins for the hidden heroes of this league.
The first 3 days are pulling these boats out of their containers that we ship them around the world in, putting them together, connecting them hydraulically, electronically, the riggers going through the platforms and setting the rigging up, and getting the boats from the pieces we travel them around the world in to finished race-ready yachts.
Every event for us, we base off a one-event plan, and this comes down to all our checklists. So the boats go through rigorous check before they roll out of their tents, once they get in the water, and then when they return home at night, we can assess for any damages or check in on any other checklists that we need to, that are required for the next day of sailing.
There's a lot of maintenance on these boats all the time. That's before the crashes and the incidents that we see on the water. Hey mate, hey, I think we're going to need a 15-minute delay on Brazil and base it on the fact that we might need to extend that as we go. We don't have any spare time, but that 3 days is our kind of minimum period that we can get the fleet together. Sassnitz was a standout for us this year. We rely on some very, very good people. To see boats do what GBR did in Sassnitz is the reason we do it. We've got a massive, massive group of people that work behind closed doors here, and from our hydraulics team, our electronics team, our boat building team, rigging, wing, foil, you know, I can continue on and on and on, but these guys are all hugely experienced in their individual departments.
We got a fair amount of work to do on that. Carry on. Yes, right.
And our goal is to use the skill set we've got with the people involved to essentially, when needed, pull off some miracles every now and again.
I think everyone knows that the tech team is the silent team behind the scenes. There's plenty of heroes amongst this group in the orange shirts that are, will always strive to get these boats on the start line.
One more race to go, and in the overall right now, it is the Bons Flying Roos that lead the way. Coming up on 2:30 to go. And just a short time ago, Lisa Darmaning catching up with fellow countryman Tom Slingsby, the driver for the Bons Flying Roos.
Tom, it's so tough out here. Conditions are tough, and also 3 people on board. You're a busy guy.
Yeah, there's plenty to do when you've only got 3 people on board. We usually race with 6, so you're doing double the jobs at the moment. Really tough conditions. I mean, 1 second you're foiling, plenty of wind, and the next second you're parked and stopped. So head out of the boat, try to find a little bit of extra pressure, and yeah, we've done a good job so far.
And high pressure on the manoeuvres as well.
Yeah, these manoeuvres are really tough to stick. Those foiling jibes are make or break your race, and we had a couple there where we were marginal whether we were going to get through. We got through and got a big lead on everyone, so it went our way, that one, but we've got 2 more races in very tough conditions.
Good luck, Tom. Thank you.
So that is the story right now. It is the Bons Flying Roos that have the lead by 1 point over Emirates GBR, and the Black Foils of New Zealand, they sit in second on 16-16. And then the Swiss having a good showing, Hannah. They are in 4th place right now with 15 points. Remember, tomorrow, Super Sunday is another big day, and then it's just the top 3 teams that will be in the event final. So as they all get themselves into position, all the teams look to be ready to go. Stevie, this is a big opportunity for teams at the back of the pack right now.
Yeah, I just had a massive incident, it looked like, between Italy and Brazil there. I'm not entirely sure what happened, but look at this. The Italians trying to push around the front of Brazil. And, oh, I mean, look how close the rudders. It's completely unnecessary, really. Clearly a late-minute change of plan there. We're going to be on Brazil now, watching it happen. Brazil have the right of way. Italy are just rolling over the front. It's Italy's choice. And Martini felt like she needed to keep clear and very close to knocking the rudders off the back of that Italian boat. Oh, well, that was a bit dramatic for 1 minute and 30 before the start. Todd, once again, bottom left-hand corner of our screen, black foils got some space. Most of the boats look like they're further down the line. I think the right-hand side of our screen, the windward end of the start line, is going to be a little more open than we've seen. Black foils, well, they're up and foiling. We've seen they've got one really right, one really wrong so far out there today. So what's Berlin got lined up for us today? He's foiling, he's got some space, he's going to come charging around the outside, and I think it'll be De La Pierre in the French boat, also up and foiling. The Rolex pole predictor sits on the black foils, but he's going to have to thread an eye through the needle here because he's got a lot of work to do to get a gap in this fleet. Middle of the line's favoured. All about finding a gap for the black foils, all about acceleration for the Danish, for the Spanish and for the Germans. I think the black foils are going to be too late. Emirates GBR are up and foiling potentially at the bottom of the line as well. The black foils, can they poke through and stay on the foils? It's a splanket here, Todd. Look how many boats are absolutely neck and neck with each other. The black foils are still foiling. France are foiling. Canada are foiling. Mark 1's coming really quick. And it's Emirates GBR who are going to be on the inside. And I think the black foils might just cling on and get round in the top 3 as well. But France is pressing over the top of them.
Here we go at mark number 1, and they do it NASCAR style. 3 wide as they come around.
It's the French, they've gone so fast on that first leg, Todd. They need a good result here, France, because they're well back in the mid-fleet, but it's brilliant from the French. Another consistent one from Emirates GBR and Canada, another team in need of a big result.
A really high-risk start from the French there, but it's obviously paid off as they led at Mark 1.
And you see the Bonds Flying Rouge, 12th at the moment, so they are the current leaders, but they're right back in the pack, and we see the black foils getting rolled over by 1, 2, 3, 4 boats at the moment. So it's all about sticking these foiling manoeuvres. The lead 2 boats, well, no surprise there. They're out in clear wind. They've done a really nice job. But for Emirates Great Britain, can they cling on relative to the German team? And the black foils, well, they're not foiling right now. They're losing places quickly.
Well, France could use a big amount of points here because they finished 6th in race number 1, and then they followed that up with an 11th in race number 2. For Canada, it hasn't been a great day either. In race number 1, they go 8th place, and they back that up in the second race with that penalty, getting 6th.
Looks like the wind's rotated. The wind looks like it might have rotated a long way round off the shore here, Lisa. A lot of boats may be taking some extra manoeuvres on this first downwind.
Been moving around quite a lot, but I still think getting to that shore, there's a little bit of a funnel. Everyone that has done that immediate jibe is basically coming back the way that they came from, so it's really, really tough out here. Canada's looking very free down the bottom now.
Yeah, they're in a lot of wind on that same side of the course. The Australians, who are right at the back of the pack, I think they've just fallen off the foils. They were potentially up to 5th, 6th position there. It's absolute chaos out there on the water right now. The black foils are nearly going upwind. Australia have made a huge gain. France and Canada are a long, long way out in the lead here. It's going to be a straight battle for the race victory with them. But here we are. We're on board the black foils. They're having to go back towards the shore. Another manoeuvre.
Already,
Oh, they're really struggling to get going. The black foils here, this is going to be painful for them. As Slingsby, well, he's last all the way up to 5th in about 200, 300 metres of racing.
Worth noting, the race does have a duration time of 16 minutes max, and you see Emirates GBR, Hannah, they are almost not dead still, but 13 kilometers an hour.
Yeah, you see they're starting to split the weight, so some of the crew are on one side, a lot of the crew are on the other side, so makes the maneuvers a little bit harder because you've got to choreograph who's going to do which of those roles on board. But equally, it means that you don't have the option to see the tactical software, which is on a TV screen at the bottom of the wing. So they're really sailing by feel in these conditions. When the boat speed gets down as low as 8 kilometers an hour, actually really hard to just get the boat to turn through the water.
Really hard, but the French, they've stayed foiling this whole while, which there must have been a little bit more wind offshore actually, so the left turn at the bottom, massive gain to the French. Sounded like Dylan Fletcher had spotted that as well. The British are in third. Could he come away with 3 third places on one day? Well, I expect he'd probably take that if we offered that to him right now. Australia up to 4th. New Zealand have dropped back to 8th, and Los Gallos, well, they need a miracle now because they have to get a good result to stay in the game, and we see their foiling time. Well, France 85%, 85 beats 50, and that's what we're seeing on the race course at the moment.
Meanwhile, at the other end of the course, it is the French who are up and foiling, and they are way out in front. We're talking 300-400 meters away. But as we know, Stevie, they could find themselves in a hole here as they make the turn to come back downwind.
Yeah, I mean, just how silky that maneuver was. There's obviously quite good breeze up there at the moment. If they're lined up for the gate at the top here, which I think they will be from that last maneuver, they'll be heading off downwind, and I just don't see anyone can catch them. Their biggest problem is going to be they're going to meet most of the rest of the fleet at the next gate. They're going to almost be lapping a lot of the fleet, and that could be the moment they get caught up in the traffic. Look, traffic jam at the bottom of the course.
But for right now, it is a beautiful thing for the French team in Content de la Pierre, the winners of Sassnitz. They are at 54 kilometers an hour, and other teams at 9, 14, 11. Ooh, carnage.
Yeah, it's pretty slow out there. Germany's done a nice job. They've got themselves into the match there. Australia, well, this is a rabbit from a hat from Slingsby. He's absolutely saved himself here. They were disastrous at the start. On board the German team here, they could do with a good result as well. They'll be looking to find that wind. They're heading to where the French had more wind. You can see on the right hand side of our screen Rubadla Brazil, the black foils, Los Gallos, they're heading in towards the shoreline. So it's going to really come down to where the most wind is. Germans seem to like what they've got on that side of the course.
Yeah, France is going to lap some people as they come flying in the center of your screen. The French are in first place as they approach this gate, and then they'll head back up, where the other teams have yet to go back up again. So the Americans, the Danes, the Italians, all in jeopardy of getting lapped by Content de la Pierre and the French.
Yeah, just a short upwind leg for the French. He might well choose to keep it simple here and take a right turn, keep himself in space. Nearly a leg lead at the moment, as you said. I mean, that's a massive advantage he's got over the Canadians at the moment. Just shows you the difference if you stay foiling there. He laps the Americans as he rounds gate 4. America are rounding gate 2 for them. So here we go. 2 more good maneuvers for the French, and this will be a determined, dominant victory.
And I guess the question, if you're watching at home, Hannah, and you're not really familiar with sailing, I guess people are wondering, how are the French able to do that and the other teams can't find that win?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those scenarios where if you can sail in breeze, which is fresh coming down from the city, and keep the boat up on the foils, then you're generating enough wind to then stay up on the foils. As soon as you start mixing with the other boat, the wing sails create a lot of disturbed wind. So the closer you are to other boats, the harder it is to accelerate. We're seeing a couple of boats get up and foiling on this upwind leg now. So we've got the Spanish in the middle of the course and the boats on the right-hand side of the screen, just about generating enough speed to get up on the foils, but it won't be enough to get anywhere near the French.
Yeah, I got it.
On board North Star Canada.
Okay, so it's now to finish, isn't it? Okay.
You see Charles, he's got his head on a swivel there, trying to look for the breeze, trying to remember where he's going. It's pretty confusing when you've got all these other boats on different legs of the course. Nice, smooth round up there.
2, 1. Board down. 2, 1, lock. Turning. Foiler. Yeah.
Try and stay full and watch the right-hand hull there, right-hand side of our screen. Does it stay clear? It does. Beautiful manoeuvre there by the Canadians, lovely and smooth. They'll be happy. They've just got to get to this next mark. I don't think they'll be able to challenge the French, but they're going to cement a very, very good final race of the day here. The big races in the pack, right-hand side of our screen. Germany are in 5th. Australia 4th are up and foiling as well, and the black foils, well, they were so good coming into the Mark 1, but they're back in 10th. This could really hurt them. Los Gallos in 6th place at the moment. They need a good result. It's going to play havoc with the overall results here, but it's really, really up and down. There's a battle for 3rd, Australia against Emirates Great Britain, and it's, yeah, can you map your way around the course? There's going to be a lot of disturbed air out there right now.
Yeah, and disturbed air makes it just so much harder to keep the boat moving, but also it really plays into your strategy, because do you choose to drop the hull in the water so that you can take a shorter course to the next mark? And just Australia going behind the Canadians on their final upwind leg there. But the Brits here, they're not quite laying. If they jibe now, they're going to have to sail quite low to get to that gate mark if they want to pull off a foiling jibe.
And all the chaos is in the rear view mirror of the French. Quentin Delapierre and team coming up to the finish line here slowly, but they have a massive lead. And the Emirates winning moment in race number 3 at the Rolex Switzerland Sail Grand Prix Geneva goes the way of the French. After a dominant performance in Sassnitz, they come back here in Lake Geneva and put on a great show in the 3rd race of the day.
Good bit of a pep talk from Jason Saunders there. Much better, guys. Good start, Contan. A little bit of positivity coming in the Canadians as well. This is 2 teams getting first 2 boats here really, really needing good results after a pretty tough day out there. But I think that'll mean it's all on in a big fight out there tomorrow. It's going to really tighten the fleet up with New Zealand back in 9th. Rockwool, Denmark, they were doing well as well in 10th. So there's plenty going on the water here. Where's Emirates, Great Britain? Obviously in a tight battle with the Australians.
Stevie, quick check of the math there. I've got France finishing race number 1 as 6th. Then they fell down to 11th. So a 6, 11, and a 1. For Canada, the news isn't great. They got an 8th place. Then they dropped back to 6th and a 2nd. So Canada's going to be in the hunt for a possible top 3 finish going into Super Sunday. So well done, Giles Scott, as he brings across North Star Canada. They will officially finish in 2nd place. And now the battle is on. Who is going to find any kind of breeze? Because right now it is a drift fest. You see the left side of your screen, Emirates GBR, they are currently in 3rd, but here come the Bons Flying Rouge, the Black Foils. They'll all be battling for position.
Yeah, it's all about whether or not the British have found more wind. They've got a lot of space and they're quite well away from other boats in the fleet. So this manoeuvre, they're going to definitely not be not even on the foils. So it's going to be a straightforward manoeuvre. Turn the boat, then can they get back up and foiling? There seems to be less wind. Swiss were foiling coming downwind a minute ago, but there's not a lot of breeze. Now this is crucial for the British. If they don't foil, then potentially the Australians will overtake them.
So less than 6 minutes away from the race being terminated, and there is the race. It is on. There you see the Bons Flying Rouge currently in 4th. Emirates GBR making nice progress. They've got to get to that mark, and then that slight left-hand turn to the finish line in the distance.
19 kilometres an hour. They need to be nearer 28 if they've got any hope of foiling. So I don't see that's possible. British need to aim a little bit more at the Australians here. Accelerate the boat. Try and make it hard for the Bons Flying Rouge. Here you go, the Bons Flying Rouge right now. Australia are going to be very, very slow for a moment here. Can Emirates Great Britain stay over the top? Right of way with the Australians.
Hannah, is this a condition with Emirates possibly putting on some dirty air onto the wing of the Australians?
Well, they're going to need to move forwards if that's something they want to do, but you can see they're committing to H1 here with just 1 hole lifting, because we've got Luke Parkinson who's in that front cockpit. He can lean back and change the rake of the board, but both teams really trying to eke every kilometre an hour they can out of the boats in this last leg.
Australians have done a nice job there.
I think we can go board down.
Really nice job. They accelerated pretty well there and managed to cement that position. Big comeback. They were last at Mark 1 on board the Bons Flying. That's 2 races in a row where he's pulled a rabbit from a hat out there today. Definitely going fast in these light winds on this Australian boat.
If you feel this wood, let's go for it. In minus there. We have.
Well, you think about these conditions that they faced today, Han and Stevie, and for the Australians to come out and get a 4th, a 1st, and possibly a 3rd, that's a great day.
Huge day, yeah. And I think what's really interesting for me is how well a lot of the teams, but Australia seem to be really leading it. They're using the board that normally would be stowed up in the boat to minimise drag. They're pushing that down to lift the hull up. Definitely a new technique that we're seeing with these T-foils here. Australia really going well with it, and what a result that is to get a 3rd there.
Rolling up here.
So finishing in a podium position on the day, the Bons Flying Rouge wrap up their day with a 3rd place just behind France and North Star Canada. So a master class there by Tom Slingsby, as Stevie pointed out. They somehow salvaged dead last positions at mark number 1 and turned them into top 5 positions. Emirates GBR will finish in 4th place, so the 3rd and final race looks like this: France, Canada, Australia, and Britain.
Copy. It felt like we had it. You know what I mean?
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Can't be too disappointed, though, if you're Dylan Fletcher. I mean,
No.
3, 3, and 4.
Yeah, totally, Todd. And they really got pretty well off the start line. So I don't think they, Slingsby, yes, he sailed brilliantly, but you could have quite easily not had the opportunities that came up. He wasn't really controlling his own destiny. He took advantage of every situation he got amazingly. But the British were just always solid at Mark 1 and just sailed solid races. So I think they'll come away from it feeling pretty happy with how their starting's going, because you can compare that to a lot of the other teams that just couldn't consistently get off the start line.
No, jibe or
And Germany Deutsche Bank will come in with a respectable 4th place finish for them. Again, they finished in, what was it, 7th place in race 2, and then in race number 1, the Germans finishing down the pack in 9th position. So they bring it home and they cross the line. And now everyone starts thinking about Super Sunday and what the weather is going to be like. We'll check in with Lisa Darmanin before we say goodbye, but there is the scene on Lac Le Mans here in Geneva, Switzerland.
And then
another team, Stevie, that really needs some points in a big-time way.
Yeah, it's been a tough day for the defending champions, hasn't it? I think, you know, they're sort of not really getting to grips with these light conditions. They definitely seem to favour a little bit more breeze. Definite foiling conditions seems to really suit them. And I think, yeah, when we thought about there being a top 4, then they really need to come out tomorrow filing. I mean, again, there's so many points flying around out there today. We can see New Zealand are currently in 11th place. New Zealand have had an average one, they've had a very good one, and then they're having a very poor one here. So New Zealand are probably going to find themselves out of that top 3 right now, and it's going to be a real scrap to make that final race tomorrow.
7, 8, and 6 for Spain. It looks like they will bring it across, but I think the big shocker, Stevie, as you talked about, has got to be the black foils. I mean, where they're sitting and what they did, winning race number 1, having a pretty solid second race, and finishing in 5th, and then they are way in the back of the pack, 11th right now.
Yeah, so what's interesting, I think, as well, is I think if you're 1st or 2nd at Mark 1, that almost guarantees you a good race, but 3rd all the way back to about 9th, you can just end up in a complete melee, Hannah.
Yeah, that's right. And you know, this course is not particularly long, so with the boats really interacting with each other, we've seen quite often the front boat is able to make it all the way around and lap some of the boats at the back. So that fleet's just condensing. Once you're in the middle of the pack, it's really hard to make decisions, really hard to find any space to be able to get the boat up and foiling and build any speed to make any gains at all.
So Diego Botín brings it across the finish line as they get a nice finish, their best on the day. The Season 4 winners, Olympic gold medalist, and Sailor of the Year in 2024. We turn our attention now to the winners of race number 3. It is Quentin Delapierre and the French team. Quentin, well done indeed. Quentin, tell us about that last race and how you found the pressure.
I mean, the last race was a good call for us. Finishing first, it's good for tomorrow. And unfortunately, the second race was a disaster for us. But at the last start, it's good to be back at the front.
And Quentin, obviously we've got these new big light air foils. They seem to be working quite well, but how much of a change is it for you on the boat? How much is there to learn?
Honestly, the new foils are amazing. Like, I'm super surprised about the lift they provide, and I'm sure you guys saw our eagle on the first leeward mark, and honestly, just hang on the foil after the rounding, I was just impressed. So I think it's a really good improvement for the fleet, and it's so cool to foil in those light conditions.
So Quentin, you guys currently sit 6th overall, but only 3 points away from a top 3 position to get into that big event final. We wish you bon chance, and we will see you tomorrow. So Quentin Delapierre and the French in the battle. We'll see if they can pull off a big showing on Super Sunday. Let's go back and take a look at the highlights from race number 3. It all begins with a start, and once again, it looks like New Zealand was going to pull something off, Stevie.
Yeah, they found a little gap, didn't they? But it didn't quite turn out for them, and it was actually Delapierre on the French boat, Hannah, who somehow threaded the needle there.
Yeah, he's really happy to have a high-risk start, and this time it paid off. Just managing to squeeze through the gap between Rockwool, Denmark there, which paid dividends as it came to gate 2, and a big split here between the French and North Star Canada, who opted for the opposite side of the course. Ultimately, it was the French who were able to stay on the foils and make it look really easy as they sailed towards the bottom of the screen. Really good boat speed for this impressive wind speed. But we had to keep our eye out for the Bons Flying Rouge, who had a really terrible start, but were just able to pick up enough speed to get foiling, get themselves back up to 6th position. The French made the sailing of the boat look really easy when they're out in the front, just like all the leaders have done today. The tempo's nice and slow on board, and they're able to use the glide from the foils to just keep up on the foils and take the race win. Closely followed by the Bons Flying Rouge, who just managed to sneak in front of Emirates GBR at that last gate mark, so showing that the race isn't over just till they cross the finish line, even in these light conditions.
And let's take a look at the Emirates fly time for race number 3. It goes the way of the winners of race number 3. Le Bleu, France gets it done 79.5%. It really was that fourth leg where they flew down the course and pretty much lapped everyone else. So let's take a look after 3 races, 1 day complete here at the Rolex Switzerland Sail Grand Prix Geneva. 25 points goes to the Bonds Flying Roos, 2 points clear of Emirates GBR, and Switzerland currently holding down a transfer position into the big event final, but still more racing to go tomorrow. North Star still in the hunt, as are the Black Foils and Le Bleu, the top 6.
That's right, it's the Rolex best time start for the German team here. They came in really hot, 0.7 of a second behind the gun, perfectly charged, and just needs to get a little bit more speed to have led at Mark 1 from that position.
That gives us our final award. It's the DP World Highest Speed of the Day. And I'll tell you what, it's not a lot of speed on the course, but some people did find a way to find some, and the foiling was spectacular when they got it done. Fastest speed, hard to believe this, is 63.32. So big props to the SailGP technology team and those new light air hydrofoils and tees. They are amazing. Everyone seems to love them across the fleet. Let's go down to Lisa Darman a short time ago with a member of the Bonds Flying Roos. All right, Lisa, take it away.
Todd, I'm with Jason Waterhouse. Jason, you guys are leading overall, but you were the comeback kings today, last at the start, and then really came back in that race to salvage it.
I mean, it's so tough out here on Lake Geneva. You go into that start box just hoping for the best, and the guys did a good job. I know we had some tough ones, but you're going to have those, and stay with it, keep your composure, and come through the fleet was one of the goals for this weekend, and I'm really happy today it was executed really well.
Well, we were talking about 3 people on board. You've got new light air foils as well. As a flight controller, you're flying new foils, you're grinding. How tough is it?
Yeah, the job role changes a lot depending on the breeze. So I was grinding, at some points, trimming the jib and then flying and then trying to give, good feedback to the guys. But super dynamic and just adjusting to conditions. So, and our coaches in the booth trying to tell us, where the pressure is, where to go. So great day for the team so far.
Well done, Jace. I know it was probably hard not having the full team on board, but you're the top of the leaderboard, and another day tomorrow. Thanks, Jace. And tomorrow, actually, weather-wise, we're looking at a similar condition, southwest around 7 to 15 kilometres per hour, so it's going to be another tough day of racing tomorrow.
All right, thank you very much, Lisa. We look forward to your reports tomorrow on Super Sunday. Hannah, if you're one of these teams, what you've experienced today, what do you prepare for tomorrow? Obviously, the conditions being the same.
Yeah, and I think, there'll be a lot of learnings from today because we know that this is the first time these teams have raced with these new light air T-foils, so there'll be a lot to debrief overnight. It's easy to underestimate how busy it is on board with just 3 people. Even though the pace of the racing is slightly slower, there's plenty of job roles to be filled on board, like Jason was saying. So lots of learnings for tonight, and they'll be back ready for more tomorrow.
Stevie, you fancy a little fresh water tomorrow?
Yeah, I think it should be good. I think if I was actually going in, I'd get my coach and team to analyse what the British were doing in the start box, because they seem to have the closest setup to a repeatable, consistent start strategy in that really what was a very, very tricky situation. So yes, they'll be learning about the T-foils, but maybe don't get too distracted in that. Look at the racing side of it, and most importantly, that last minute before the gun, because that will be everything out there tomorrow.
All right, we will see what happens. Event number 10, Super Sunday here in season number 5. It is the Rolex Switzerland Sail Grand Prix Geneva, part of the Rolex SailGP Championship. On behalf of Stevie Morrison, Hannah Diamond, and Lisa Darmanin, I'm Todd Harris. We will see you tomorrow here on Luc Le Mans in beautiful Geneva. It's Super Sunday. Who will walk away with the big title? We will find out in less than 24 hours. We will see you then. Welcome to Switzerland. Lake Geneva hosts the world's best sailors on a body of fresh water in the shadows of the Alps, but with conditions that are capricious at best.
What a start from Burling. He is gone.
Flying Vikings up and foiling.
Massive turn.
Here we go at mark number 1, and they do it NASCAR style.